Delighted to have folks on. We're talking about how you can be an even more organized blogger. Thanks, Holly. Appreciate it. I realize I forgot my microphone and it just makes things ever so much nicer. So turn the camera around a little bit and say hi, everybody. Hi, my name's Erin Elizabeth Wells, and I am an intentionality expert and productivity strategist. Holly, I'm with you. I love organization. That's what I've been doing professionally for the last 12 years, shockingly enough. Hi, Marissa. Thanks. Yeah, isn't that a great necklace? Thank you so much. This is actually the necklace from my wedding. I wore this on my wedding day 2 years ago. And it's the one piece that I get to keep reusing. So thank you. Absolutely. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. So for those of you who have never met me before, I'm delighted to be here with you. As I said, my name is Erin Elizabeth Wells, and I am a certified professional organizer, a productivity strategist, and I do my work in the world with a lot of wonderful, high-achieving entrepreneurs, as well as senior executives, and helping them to, as I like to say, move from exhaustion to excellence. So how do we get the systems in place? How do we help connect them with the right tools? And how do we help them build the habits and the mindset shifts that are really going to help them to be more effective? But today we're talking about specifically a topic that I have been just really passionate about for the last year or so. How many of you on the chat here do blogging? I mean, I'm assuming some of you do Periscoping, some of you might be new, but have a blog, Periscope, something like that. Just heart it up for me, or give me a yes in the chat to let me know that we're in the right place, that you're in the right place. If you don't know how to heart, if you're new to Periscope, you just tap anywhere on the screen. So you can tap it, and if I'm saying something that you really like, that's making sense, great, thank you, good. It's making sense to you, then feel free to tap on the screen whenever, and it gives me a little boost to know you guys are engaged and excited. So yes, it looks like we got a number of people who are bloggers. So I've been in business for 12 years. We've had a blog running since 2009. So goodness gracious, that's at least 6 years of blogging. Just starting. Yes, Danny, I know you are, but you are an organized gal, and I know that for a fact. So we've had a blog running for, 6 years now. We've been doing YouTube videos for 6 years now. I'm now just getting into Periscope. Literally just heard about it late last week, and am thrilled and excited at how cool this is. And I want to give a shout out to Holly G Studios, who's on today, because Holly, yours was one of the first Periscopes that I watched, and I was learning a lot about how to structure these things effectively to make them really content rich. So if you guys aren't following Holly G Studios, Holly, why don't you put a little comment in the chat so people can find you quickly? You should be, because this is a gal who's definitely both figured out Periscope and figured out just how to do video really well. So Holly, if you can put your comment in the chat there, that'd be great. Otherwise, if somebody else wants to do it for her, that'd be fantastic. Holly G Studios. I'm really grateful to you for the guidance and the tips. So we're talking today about how to be an even more organized blogger. And I was literally having this conversation with one of my clients just on Tuesday, 2 days ago. And he's a guy who has 2 different sections to his world, is trying to run 2 different blogs. And while he's great at brainstorming topics, he hasn't in the past been great at scheduling it out and really making sure that he's being consistent about how frequently he's posting and staying on top of kind of the flow of the tasks. His wife is a marketing gal, and she's been helping him. Is that a struggle that any of you have had? Heart it up if that's something where you've had that problem before. Okay, I'm getting a few there. You're getting some ideas of things that you want to post, but you're not being consistent. So no, okay, I need the organization. My schedule's not flowing. Okay, fantastic. So sometimes we're just not getting the organization at all. Also, I've seen folks where it's okay, I've got the topics, but I'm having trouble staying on top of the flow, or I'm having trouble figuring out how I can delegate and use others in order to make it easier for myself. So those are the two things that we're going to talk about. So if you've been maybe doing everything yourself, but you're trying to figure out how to delegate more things involved with your blog and getting your blogs posted, we're also going to talk about that. Is that true for anybody here? You might want to just tap on the screen to heart if that's the case for you, where it's like, okay, I've been doing it all myself, and now I would really love to use a VA, or I'd really love to use another team member who can help me to make to make it easier to get some of the steps off your plate. So that's what we're going to talk about. So essentially, the first step, for folks like my client I was talking to a couple of days ago, the first step is that brainstormed list. Like where, that brain dump of what are all the possible topics you could talk about across whatever channels. So your blog, your written blog, your Periscopes, your YouTube videos, your podcasts, whatever those channels are that you're using, you got to start by having a list. And what I would recommend, and what I've found to be really great, is I keep my list in Evernote. And part of the reason I do that is because I'll think of new topics like randomly. So I'll be just out and about, like someplace in the world, and I'll come up with a new idea or a new topic, and I want to be able to write it down, and not just write it down randomly like on some little piece of paper I'm going to lose, but write it directly onto my list of upcoming topics. So I keep one note that is like all of the upcoming topics that have occurred to me across a lot of different categories. And in fact, what I'll do is I'll turn it around and I'll show you guys that list just so you can get a sense of what I'm talking about. Let me pull up my Evernote here. You probably won't be able to read it, but it'll give you an idea of how I do this. So this is just like a topics brainstorm. And you'll notice that some of those topics have, they all have little check boxes by them. And some of those topics have check marks, meaning I've already assigned that to a day and I know when that's being covered. Whereas there are other things where it's like, I thought of the topic, but I haven't yet decided when I'm going to use it or what medium I'm going to use for it and how that's going to work. So, and you can see part of how I help myself think of new topics is I have, for chosen course, which is kind of my primary work, which is really around productivity, around time management, as a lot of people like to think of it. I have kind of 8 areas that I talk about specifically. So there's task management, there's energy management, there's time, calendars and rhythms, purpose and goals, direction, that kind of stuff, email and technology, paper organizing, and workspace. Basically, those are what I call kind of the 8, and collaboration. Those are kind of the 8 main areas that that are my areas of expertise. And so by having that focus of what those areas are, that helps me sometimes to think of like, what else could I think about, or what else am I coming across in terms of challenges or problems in each of those areas. So I have the one note that's got all of my topics, and then I've got the calendar in Evernote that has the assigned topics by day with the categories, etc. And so essentially that's how we keep things flowing. And this was like the beginning of the year, and now you get a little further into the year and now you're seeing I'm getting on Periscope, and so 5 scopes a week. I'm starting to put stuff in there for all of that, and I'm getting a little bit more variety. So there's actually color coding involved that allows it to be clear about which channel for which topics. So I'm going to turn this back around. Whoa. Okay, Michelle, whoa, I'm getting a whoa. Is that whoa like holy crud, that's overwhelming, or whoa, that's really cool? I can tell you, since putting this system into place, it has become light years easier to sit down and write, because I never have to ask that, like, what am I going to write about? Or what's coming up next. I always know what that means. So, I can literally just sit down and decide, all right, what's my next topic? Have I written that post yet? Blah, blah, blah. So on the one side, basically for the content and for the ideas, we use Evernote. And so how many of you use Evernote? Can you give me a comment in the chat or heart it up if you're already familiar with Evernote, if you're already using Evernote? I'm just curious. Okay, I'm getting a few hearts. Okay, how many of you have never used Evernote? It's like, I've heard of it, or okay, I used to, absolutely. Keating, that's, yeah, so Keating, it's, I used to, but not so much. Downloaded it, never used it. Okay, all right, so I can tell you, I signed up for Evernote back in 2008, and it wasn't until literally last year that I actually figured out how to use the thing effectively. So if you're in that boat where it's like I downloaded it but I never used it, or I haven't figured out how to implement it for myself, then this is one of the great ways that I've found to use it. And in fact, what I'm going to be doing is next week I'm doing a kind of more in-depth, what I refer to them as tech talks, on specifically how I'm using Evernote and Asana in combination with each other for managing our editorial calendar. So I'm kind of giving you some of the key pieces, but if you're interested in more information about that, you can actually go to chosencourse.com/periscopes. And what you'll find there is not only kind of a summary of what we're talking about today, but at the bottom of that page is the link to sign up for that tech talk. We're going to be doing it next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. So Tuesday, July 21st. 2015 at 1 p.m. Eastern time, Eastern Daylight Time. So if you'd really basically, I'm kind of giving you guys a little bit of the clues of how I'm using it, but I'm going to really go behind the screen and behind the curtain and show you in depth really what our system is for how we're using Evernote to track the data in terms of the topics and the posts, the actual written posts. And then how we're using Asana, which is a task management system, for tracking the steps. So for those of you who may have jumped on a little late, the first thing to do, the first place to start is just brainstorm that list of topics. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Danny. Brainstorm the list of topics. I keep them in Evernote because I find that to be the best place for being able to capture new ideas on the fly. And then second, create some kind of a calendar that actually assigns topics to days. And I also keep that in Evernote as well as in Asana to some degree. And I'll explain kind of how we use them slightly differently in more depth during the tech talk, but I'm going to give you a little detail of it here. Basically, you saw that list of kind of the table of the topics assigned to certain dates. Then in Asana, we have that same, basically it's reflected in a similar way, but then in Asana, it's more about tracking the flow of the tasks. So the steps for each individual post. Because, I mean, how many of you bloggers have realized that it's not just about writing the post, that there's all these other things you have to do. You have to, figure out what the keywords are. You have to find the right image to go with it. Is this familiar? Heart me up if you know this challenge. You have to do the editing on the post. You got to format it and lay it out properly in WordPress or whatever your blogging platform is. You have to syndicate it across all your social media. Like there are all these steps, right? So what I found is that the process sucks sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. Co-schedule. Okay, I'd love to hear more about how you're using that, because it might be somewhat similar to what we're doing, but that's absolutely the case, that if you don't have some way to track the steps, just writing the post doesn't do the job, right? You got to actually get it up there, get it polished, get it syndicated out to everybody. So we use Asana to manage the content. So that's where the posts are drafted. Okay, sorry, a call came through. I've never had that happen before. Hopefully that didn't mess with anybody. So give me a couple hearts to make sure you guys are still there, because I've never had a call come through in the middle of a Periscope. I don't know what one does when that happens. Oh, anybody there? Hello? Heart. Thank you. Appreciate it. So we use Evernote to manage the content, and we use Asana to manage the process. So let me flip my screen around a little bit and I'll show you what I mean about kind of those process steps. So this is if you go to Chosen Course, here we go, I'm going to give you the little thing. If you go chosencourse.com/Periscope, so that's what this is what you'll find there. You go to today's post, which is July 16th. It'll be right there at the top. You'll find the takeaways from today, and I've got a couple of screenshots, a screenshot of that editorial calendar in Evernote, so how we manage the content of our stuff. And then I've also got some screen grabs from Asana that include all of the subtasks so that it can make it a little bit easier for you guys in terms of like what do I mean by subtasks, and in terms of like what are those steps. So for instance, this one at the top here, like this is one of the like written posts. So there's begin thinking about the post, there's submit the draft, edit the text, find the image, post it to the blog, post it to Edgar, which is what we use for our social media syndication. And what's really cool about Asana, and I'm going to be going into more detail about this on the Tech Talk, is that you can actually invite your team members. So for instance, you'll see on this one, Danny's here and she's my VA, so that you can actually assign different sections of it to other people and have the whole due dates in flow so that I know that I have to submit this post by tomorrow. But then once I write it, I'm done. Like Danny takes it from there. She takes care of all of the rest of the tasks for getting that post out to everybody. So I'm giving you essentially in this, at the chosencourse.com/Periscope, you'll find both the kind of key takeaways from today's scope, as well as these screen grabs of the subtasks that we use, both for our written blog posts, which is what's up here, as well as for our video blogs. So Holly, if you're still on, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this specifically, because I know we've been, optimizing our solutions for a while here in terms of like all the steps that are necessary, and I'm sure you've got it down even more solidly. But like with our video posts, we've got 4 different people that are involved in getting each one of our video posts out. So, there's the person who's generating the content, there's the video editing guy, there's me that does the reviewing, he does the video editing polishing, and then there's our VA that handles basically, getting it published and up. So I'm happy to take some questions if you guys have questions about how we're doing this. And otherwise, that's kind of the story. Start with your brainstormed list. Let me switch this around. All right, so start with your brainstormed list of topics. Make sure you get them into an actual calendar, and then identify the steps for each post that's going to allow you to know what those steps are that you can delegate, the things that you can get off of your plate, so that you can essentially, I've gotten to the point where I can delegate virtually everything except for the content creation and a little bit of review, just to make sure everybody's on topic. So if you have questions about the system or how I'm using it, I'm happy to take them. Feel free to put them in the comments. Otherwise, that is about what I was planning to talk with you guys about today. So, last chance for questions. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off. So there we go. That's a little bit of insight into how to be an organized blogger and how to use some great online tools in order to make it easier for yourself to track what you're blogging about and to delegate and manage the flow of the tasks. For more information about that, you can go to chosencourse.com/Periscope, and that will take you to kind of the running thing. So if you catch this later on, you're going to want to look for the post that's July, oops, I apologize, that's my wrong one. It's July 16th. I forgot to throw that one away. July 16th today. So chosencourse.com/Periscope, look for July 16th post. Hello from Germany. How's it going, Phil? So that's where you're going to be able to find the details from this post. And that's where, if you're interested in the Tech Talk, you can sign up. So we're going to go in more depth. I'm going to spend more time kind of really walking people through how we use it, how we link between Evernote and Asana so that it makes it easier to get stuff done, how we use Asana to make sure that like all of the collateral pieces, the screen grabs, the links, all of that kind of stuff, all gets kept together and makes it easier for our VA or for our video guy to make sure that that stuff so they can find it more easily. So I'm going to be going into more depth about that during the Tech Talk next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. So if you're interested in joining for that, then the link to join you can find on our post for today at chosencourse.com/Periscope. So that's it for me today, guys. I look forward to meeting a bunch of you, talking on Periscope and playing around some more. I've been jumping on a bunch of different scopes recently, and so hopefully we'll get a chance to play more later. So take care, everybody. Talk to you later.